I just saw one of the best movies I've seen all year and I have to talk about it. I am not exaggerating when I say that was probably one of the most effective psychological thrillers that I've seen in a very long time. All right, so I just saw Strange Darling. Let's talk about it. Directed by J.T. Molnar, stars Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner. There is no way to talk about this without spoiling it, at least some. So if you are planning on seeing this movie, as you should, dip out now, save this, put it in your favorites, do whatever you need to do, come back later so we can talk about it. I'm not planning on spoiling it, but I'm just gonna talk and whatever happens, happens. Real talk, I don't even know where to start. When I say effective, have you ever felt like someone was taking your kindness for granted? That's what that movie did to me. I'm a little mad at how manipulative that was. Manipulative. From the very beginning, we're being lied to. And when I say I mean the very beginning. From the moment we see the title card and then, starring so-and-so, and we see starring as. So we see starring Willa Fitzgerald as the lady, Kyle Gallner as the demon. So we're already being told who these people are, so to speak, without giving names. We're more so, it's so, oh my gosh, the fact that we're not given actual names. And that's always interesting. Whenever we have main characters or a story where the main person doesn't have a name. The first movie that comes to mind is Drive with Ryan Gosling, where he's just referred to as the driver. But anyways, so we're not so much told who they are, but what they are. And because we're being told what they are, she's a lady, he's a demon, we're being told from the get-go how to view them and how to feel about them. It's not heavy-handed, it's intentional, it's clever, it's creative. But even before the title card, we get this shot of Kyle Gallner in black and white, and it's so beautiful, just the lighting on his face. He's smoking a cigarette, he looks sexy as I don't know what. And she asked him a very, valid question, so to speak, because she's on this one-night stand, potential hookup kind of date with him, says, "Are you a serial killer?" And then he kind of looks. And so we already have this sense that this dude is not good. He's not a good guy. But then it gets so manipulative because it's told out of order. So the movie is structured into 6 different chapters. The problem is we're not getting chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. It starts with chapter 3, and then I got confused because I thought, did I blink and miss the first 2 chapters? And then it goes from 3 back to 1. But then it goes from 1 to 4, and then from 4 to 2. Or am I getting that right? The point is context. It's messing with context because when we first see her, she's running for her life. And he's got a gun, and he parks his truck in the middle of the road, mounts it up, nice shot, beautiful shot, by the way. And then she's running again for her life, and she ends up at somebody's house, and she's knocking. And so we're like, girl, run, don't stop. What are you doing? Like normal things that we feel and think we're watching, like maybe a horror movie or a thriller. Like, girl, run, he's got a gun, and he's wearing flannel. So I feel like that's like the serial killer mantra right there. Homie's got a shotgun, and he's wearing a flannel. Mama and Papa Doomsday Hippie answer the door, but then we skip to another chapter. Now she's hiding in the house, and he's talking about some here, kitty, kitty. I mean, it's a cat and mouse kind of movie, sort of. Am I telling? I don't even know. The whole movie was out of order. And then we get back to the first part. We really get to see how this whole thing started, how they met up in the first place. Because we see from the previews that this whole thing starts in the hotel, but the movie starts in the woods and in the back roads and then somewhere in the mountains. And now we're at the hotel and they're having a conversation in the car. And she starts talking about how we as women have to think about certain things before we get into situations. When we want to have a little bit of fun, get outside our comfort zone, go be adventurous, we have certain things with respect to our safety that we have to think about. And this is an honest thing to say. Like, this is very true. It resonates. It's familiar. It's relatable. Like, it doesn't feel, like it's speechy or preachy, but it definitely feels, when I think about it and I go back in hindsight, it's so manipulative, but that's intentional. It's false foreshadowing. Is that a thing? But then we get into the whole thing about them being in the car and them talking, having conversations, they're drinking, they're smoking, it's cool, it's copacetic, and then their hotel and things are starting to get hot and heavy, and then it gets weird and a little scary. And then she says something, I'm like, oh my God, is that a safe word? And that's where we're at this point where it's like, who is this chick? Okay? And who is he? Because we start off the movie feeling some type of way about him, not liking him, we're scared of him, and then we flip the script and we go back to the beginning and realize that we didn't have proper context. There was so much to this story that we just didn't know. Oh my gosh, that was brilliant. The acting, oh my gosh, can we talk about it? Willa Fitzgerald, the woman that you are. Ma'am, who are you? I want to know everything about her. I want to know every movie she's ever been in. I want to watch her whole filmography from beginning to end. I must know everything about this woman. Kyle Gallner, my boy. He has this quiet sexiness about him that I've always adored. But the casting of him is brilliant in the same way that the casting of Bill Skarsgård in Barbarian was brilliant, because we have this expectation of him. He has a very eclectic resume, but he is a bit of a genre actor. He's very talented, good at what he does, but he does thriller and horror very well. We expect from him creepy, terrifying, manipulative. So it's not just that we see Kyle Gallner as the demon, but just his name alone, his presence, his face, we already have this expectation that he is not to be trusted. He is someone to be feared. Does that make sense? Same way with Bill Skarsgård in Barbarian. Eclectic resume, right? But he does horror very well. He was Pennywise. He was in Castle Rock. He was in that one Netflix show. The title is escaping me. Even in the way he's shot, after we understand who's who to an extent, what's what, ooh, it's getting dark. And we understand, like, okay, what we thought before isn't really what's going on. We're still being manipulated and lied to. There's something about camera angles. When we're looking up at someone, the perception that we have, the way we're supposed to be a little afraid, we're supposed to feel a little shrunken. And then when we're looking down at someone, we're supposed to see them as sweet. And it plays with your emotions, the way you're looking at someone, when you're looking down at someone and when you're looking up at someone. Even when we're looking down at her, despite what we know about this person, we still see this person as vulnerable. But then when we look at him and we're looking up, we're still supposed to feel terrified. Even though everything has been laid out, we're seeing everything as it is, we're still being manipulated and lied to. Why? Because not only do we have this non-linear structure, we have an unreliable narrator. She is our unreliable narrator. And it's not until the very end when you realize that everything that we have seen thus far has been from her perspective. Because I'm thinking, if this is what it is, why is he called the demon? And then we get to the last little bit and it's like, oh, I can't contain myself. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. I love that so much. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. I am obsessed. I have to go over my list, but that might be top 5. It's a solid 10, but it might be top 5. I'm shooketh. I am shooketh. Well freaking done. That was artwork.